Well, looking ahead now to 2024, the Democratic National Committee voted to change the presidential primary calendar, which could affect Georgia. If approved, Georgia will become one of 4 states to see a change in when primaries are held. South Carolina would bump Iowa as the first state to hold caucus, which it's held since the 1970s. The goal is to hold primaries in more diverse states. First, the proposal will go before the full DNC for a vote in early 2023. Joining me now is Chuck Todd, moderator of Meet the Press. Good morning, Chuck, and we'll get right to it. The Democrats making some changes, moving around the primary calendar. Georgia is included. It's now one of the states coming before Super Tuesday, and this comes on the heels of big leadership changes for the party. So do Democrats feel the need to shake things up as much as possible?
Well, I think some of this is, I would say, evolution, not revolution, if you will. When you look at the leadership changes, these were changes that people have been clamoring for years. I mean, you had, the top 3 Democrats weren't even baby boomers. They were from the silent generation, born before the baby boom, if you will. So a lot of people will look at this generational change with Hakeem Jeffries, Catherine Clark, P. Aguilar, as sort of like it's about time. The idea that people in their 50s are considered young, I love that as someone in their 50s, but only in Congress is that the case these days, if you look at it that way. As for the primary calendar, look, this is Joe Biden's, I think the most analyzed part of this Joe Biden endorsed primary calendar map is he is trying to make it harder for a progressive, somebody on the far left, to get the Democratic nomination. He is trying to empower the more moderate electorates, particularly African-American voters, to have more of a say early in this process. South Carolina being first, both Michigan and Georgia and being in there, both have significant African-American populations inside of Detroit and Atlanta. So, and ideologically, African-Americans are not as progressive as the progressive wing of the party. So I think this is Biden's way of trying to keep the Democrats from being hijacked by their left wing.
So you think Biden sees this as confirmation Georgia is more important in the process based on what's happened here in the last few election cycles?
I think he views it as almost rewarding Georgia for being so important to the Democrats, yes, on that front. So I think it's more of a reward to all of the, look at the last, we've had 3 Senate races in 2 years, plus a couple of runoffs and all of that. And it has essentially been the difference between Biden having a legislative agenda and not having one. So I think he definitely feels like Georgia Democrats are owed one.
Chuck Todd, always a pleasure speaking with you. Meet the Press airs at 10 right after 11 Alive Weekend Morning News. Thanks, Chuck.